This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Welcome into you. I'm Rebecca Smith.
I'm Bill Bryant. We hope you had a great weekend. It was a nice one to enjoy. It is now Monday, February 22nd.
Now at 6 a.m., some suspended Central Kentucky police officers fighting to get their jobs back. We're live with details of today's public hearing.
Also on WKYT, find out why a woman says she left her 3-year-old alone for several hours.
And good news for a couple of abused dogs rescued from a Central Kentucky home.
30s and 40s outside this morning. It's not a bad start today. Still on the chilly side, though. We get into the afternoon at 47. Cooler day, but you know what? It's that midweek storm system we're going to be focusing in on. I'm going to give you an hour-by-hour forecast, when to expect the rain and when to expect the snow coming up.
And let's get right to the news.
Yeah, several police officers who were suspended from the Paris Police Department are fighting to get their jobs back.
A lot of people have been wondering what really is going on with all of this. The police chief says their conduct was unbecoming of an officer. Today's hearing will be open to the public. WKYT's Mark Barber is live in Paris this morning to explain the case. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Of the 6 officers who were suspended last week, one of them has since resigned, but 5 are still fighting the charges. Now, the attorney for the officers says anytime disciplinary action is filed against a law enforcement officer in Paris, they follow certain procedures. One of those procedures is a public hearing before the city commissioners. Now, that hearing will take place here at the city municipal building in just 3 hours. Now, these officers, they were suspended last week, and the public is encouraged to come to this morning's meeting where these officers are expected to ask the city commissioners and the city attorney to reinstate them to the police force. The officers were all suspended without pay on a variety of charges last week. They're facing disciplinary action after being accused of spending too much time in the city's dispatch center. They were warned about hanging out there 2 months ago. Now today, those officers will all have a chance to make their own case before the city commissioners, before the city attorney, and the public, of course, is invited to come have a front row seat to it all as it begins at 9 a.m. here at the city municipal building. Live in Paris, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, we should know a lot more on that situation in a few hours, and we thank you, Mark. A Jessamine County mother is in jail this morning. She's accused of leaving her toddler home alone for at least 9 hours. Police say Nina Pike told them that she left her 3-year-old alone because she had to go to work. Neighbors found the young girl wandering around outside of her home. One neighbor says she wishes Pike would have asked someone for help.
I couldn't imagine a mother leaving her child and feeling okay with it. So I know that, you know, it probably had to be hard for her. I just hope that she knows that there's people around here that would help her.
We tried to reach out to Pike at the Jessamine County Detention Center. She declined to comment. She is charged with criminal abuse.
New on WKYT this morning, an arrest was made after an overnight standoff in Mercer County. Police say they went to a home on Miller Dean Road where they were met by a man with a gun. They were eventually able to get William Cox to surrender. Inside the home, police found marijuana, meth, syringes, and a large amount of cash. Cox faces numerous drug charges.
A 2-county chase has led to the arrests of 2 men accused of robbing a woman in a church parking lot. Lexington police say Robert Schultz and Harvey Smith asked a woman outside a church on Winchester Road if she needed some help in carrying a few items. When she said no, police say one of the men pulled out a knife and stole her purse. Deputies in Scott County later saw a car that matched the one involved in the robbery, but they say he refused to stop. With some help from deputies in Grant County, officers were able to arrest the pair, and both of them are now charged with robbery.
Happening today, a man charged in a Southern Kentucky murder case will face a judge. Police charged Harry Henson in connection to a deadly stabbing in Jackson County. WKYT's Mike Byer is at our live desk with more on the case against Henson.
Of a deadly stabbing in Jackson County is set to meet face-to-face with a judge. 38-year-old Harry Henson of Manchester will make his first court appearance today. This after Kentucky State Police say Henson stabbed B.J. Muncie in the throat, killing him. The incident happened late Thursday night during a get-together at a home on Bailey Road in Jackson County. Investigators tell us the fight started after Henson accused Muncie of stealing his medication. Police reports say Henson also attempted to attack Muncie's wife as well as another man. Henson has been charged with murder and 4 counts of wanton endangerment. Now, Henson was also injured during the altercation and was later treated at a hospital. At the live desk, Mike Byer, WKYT.
All right, thank you, Mike. 2 dogs rescued from a home in Jessamine County last week are now on the road to recovery. Animal Control found Boo and Snicker at a home in Nicholasville. Both dogs were starving. Snicker was in the worst shape. They were worried he would never recover. But over the weekend, Animal Care and Control posted a video of Snicker walking outside with some help. Both dogs are doing better. We are happy to report. Their owner, Vicki Madden, is charged with second-degree animal cruelty.
Well, it does look certainly much better, and it's good to see that video. An EKU sophomore will be on the Food Network tonight. National TV. Megan Smith, the owner of Doodlebug Cakes in Berea, will be on tonight's episode of Cake Wars. The 18-year-old is the youngest contestant in the show's history. She and her assistant will compete against 3 other teams for a chance to win $10,000. You can catch Megan and her assistant and their cake making in that episode tonight at 9.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Well, we're looking out in Nevada and seeing those temperatures there in the 30s and 40s. Now, what we're going to be dealing with the next couple of days, pretty calm conditions. Really don't see much going on. It's really about the temperatures the next 48 hours. Here's your look across the region. We're at 35 now in Lexington. We're in the mid-40s down south. And you can see across the region, too. All looks well there on the roadways. Not hearing of any issues, so take off and enjoy. Let's talk about your next 24 hours. Here's the outlook on that. Starting off in the 30s and 40s this morning, finish off in the 40s, maybe even some lower 50s down south later on this afternoon. Not a bad day, right? That's just above average. Now, I know it's not Saturday like we had right around 70 degrees. What a beautiful weekend, by the way. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stayed outside the whole time. Once we hit the evening hours, we'll be in the 40s. Still pretty nice. Then tomorrow morning, we're starting off exactly like we're seeing this morning and really feeling, too. It's going to be pretty much a carbon copy of each other. Now, here's what you really want to know about, okay? So check this out. This is hour by hour heading off into Tuesday, tomorrow, into Wednesday. Watch this. We get into Wednesday evening and night, or Tuesday evening and night, rather. We'll start to see that rain move on in. So daylight hours tomorrow, small chance of rain. I mean, at best. You got to get into the nighttime hours to actually see this widespread rain. And it does take over as we travel throughout your day on Wednesday. On Wednesday, you can look for anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain throughout the forecast region. Virtually everybody actually seeing some rain on Wednesday. It's going to be a soggy start. There's 7 a.m. Wednesday morning. Talk about the kids going off to the bus stop, you heading out to work. It's not going to be a good start to the day. Very wet conditions and also that wind really cranking up. What about the afternoon and evening hours? On Wednesday, yeah, you're still talking about rain. So it's going to be an all-day thing there on Wednesday, on and off showers and even a few rumbles of thunder. But then pay attention to the screen if you're not looking at it. The rain transitions over into snow on Wednesday night into early Thursday morning. There's 3 a.m. You can see there that transition coming on in, and it slides on through as we go throughout your day on Thursday. Thursday looks to be the most impactful day in terms of how are we going to get the kids to school, if they're going at all, going off to work. Remember, Wednesday's wet. Thursday's mainly snowy. As of right now, Rebecca, I would be leaning more toward the 1 to 3 inches of snow there on Thursday. So it's not a high impact storm system, but it's enough to cause issues, kids being out of school, maybe some delays, things like that. So that's, go ahead and prepare for that. We're still 4 days out, but you have enough time to prepare for that.
Winter hasn't quite finished with us yet.
Still has its grip on us.
A little bit. Each morning we'll bring you weather and traffic. Here's Officer Don right now with what's happening out on the roads.
Good morning. Well, no wrecks in the city right now to start off on the Circle and the Interstate. That's the great news. Just check the inner loop at Richmond Road, and that stalled car in the exit ramp is still there, but shouldn't have a major impact for us. We'll keep an eye on that. As we get a live look outside at real-time Lexington traffic flow, we're okay on the Circle and the Interstate as well. As far as drive times are concerned, nothing major hitting us right now, so we're okay coming in from Nicholasville toward Lexington, just normal traffic flow there. Same deal from Harrodsburg inbound. Paris from the north side, Paris Pike looks good, and so does 75 north and southbound across the Clays Ferry Bridge. Now back to you in the studio.
Okay, I hope everybody makes it a good ride in today and enjoy your Monday, and thank you very much, Don. Our time is 6:09 right now.
Well, investigators are piecing together an Uber driver's alleged shooting spree that killed 6 people in Michigan. In 3 minutes, we'll hear from a man who caught a ride with a suspect.
Also ahead on WKYT this morning, dramatic video of a bus that burst into flames on an Illinois highway. So good to have you along with us on WKYT this Monday morning.
Welcome back in on your Monday morning. It is 6:13. Well, a Michigan man will be arraigned today in connection with a 7-hour shooting spree that left at least 6 people dead.
Yeah, police are working to try to piece together the timeline of the alleged killer, who is a 45-year-old Uber driver who reportedly picked up passengers in between the shootings. Don Champion has the latest.
Jason Dalton faces multiple murder and weapons charges connected to a deadly shooting rampage in Kalamazoo. Officials say the 45-year-old Uber driver targeted his victims at random. Mark Dutton gets chills thinking about his encounter with Dalton.
It's crazy to think that someone could have gone out and just done all these horrible things and just came in with a straight face, like he's just going to work doing his job.
Dutton and his friends heard about the killing spree and got nervous when Dalton picked them up in a car that matched the one police were looking for.
My buddy Scott actually said something to him and said, "Hey, this isn't the HHR, you're not the guy, are you?" And he kind of just said no.
53-year-old Richard Smith and his 17-year-old son Tyler were killed car shopping at this dealership. Barbara Hawthorne was among those killed at this Cracker Barrel.
When a tragedy like this strikes, you never expect it to be this close at home.
The first victim in the spree was a woman who was shot multiple times at this apartment complex. She's expected to survive. The sheriff says her quick actions saved the lives of several children, including 12-year-old Joy Coleman.
And shot her once and she was still running with it, and then shot her again and she fell. And she asked Joy, "Help me."
Dalton, a married father of 2, had no prior criminal history. Don Champion, CBS News.
Now, Uber's security officer, the chief officer for that company, has released a statement saying that, quote, "We are horrified and heartbroken at the senseless violence in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Our hearts and prayers are with the families of the victims of this devastating crime and those recovering from the injuries." The U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments in 2 cases today, its first action since the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Scalia could have been the deciding vote in those cases, which center on the rights of criminal defendants. He was laid to rest on Saturday. The 79-year-old died last weekend while on a hunting trip in Texas.
Well, Bill Cosby's wife is scheduled to answer questions under oath in a defamation lawsuit brought against her husband. 7 women claim the comedian sexually assaulted them decades ago. The women allege Cosby defamed them by branding them as liars after they went public with allegations of sexual assault. He's denied their allegations and filed a countersuit. Camille Cosby is scheduled to give a deposition today in Massachusetts. A Minneapolis-bound bus burst into flames north of Chicago, sending dozens of passengers running out onto the highway. Passengers say the megabus had just left Chicago, headed north on Highway 41. They heard a loud pop near one of the tires. Passengers say the driver then pulled over to the side of the road and got out to investigate. Look at all that smoke there. That smoke just started pouring out of the side of the bus. 40 passengers were evacuated. Minutes later, that bus went up in flames.
The smoke started to build up more and more, so naturally we moved away. I'd say 20, 30 feet after we started walking, heard an even louder explosion. The bus just went up in flames.
Had to have been really, really scary. No one was hurt in all this. All the luggage, though, except one suitcase, was destroyed.
Wow. All right. Time this morning is 6:17, and here's something that we have not been saying in a while. Gasoline prices are going up. AAA says the national average for a gallon of gas rose for 4 days in a row last week as the price of crude is rising. Still, drivers are paying about 60 cents less per gallon than at this time last year. Yahoo could be on the market. Bloomberg reporting this morning that the struggling tech company will start to approach buyers as early as today, including Verizon, Comcast, and AT&T. The fate of CEO Marissa Mayer is still unclear. She took over in 2012, and the company has had a hard time competing with Google and Facebook. A big shakeup in the executive offices at SeaWorld. The amusement park announced the departures of the company's chief parks operations officer, the chief zoological officer, and San Antonio's park director. It's part of a continuing effort to improve the profitability of the theme parks. SeaWorld announced it will end its killer whale shows last fall following public scrutiny and regulatory pressure. To the moon and beyond. More than 18,000 people have applied for NASA's next astronaut class. That's a record, and it's triple the number who applied to the previous class. There are just 14 spots. These future astronauts could be tapped for a mission to Mars. Once the final candidates are selected, they will undergo 2 years of basic training on things from spacewalking to learning Russian, because presumably there may be some teamwork involved in this. But that's quite interesting. Would you make that trip, Rebecca?
It wouldn't be for me, but, you know.
Yeah.
It is for a lot of people, and hey, if you're
Absolutely.
smart enough, you can do it, right? WKYT this morning is just getting started. It's a visit to the White House. This 106-year-old woman will never forget how she celebrated in 6 minutes.
And we're looking across the way, looking for temperatures the next few days, 40s, 50s, actually not all that bad. But then we hit midweek. That's when it becomes a little bit interesting. I'll have that forecast coming up next.
The time is 6:22 on WKYT here on your Monday morning, February 22nd.
Yeah, we hope yours is off to a great start. Well, Lexington police are trying to track down an early morning robbery suspect.
And that's what's trending at this hour. Police say a man robbed the Bluegrass extended stay on Richmond Road just a little while ago, just before 6 o'clock this morning. Video just into our newsroom. Nobody hurt there. Police say the suspect is about 6 feet tall and was wearing a gray hoodie at the time.
The Paris police officers who were suspended without pay last week will have a chance today to plead their case before city commissioners. The hearing at the city municipal building is at 9 this morning. 6 officers who were suspended last week after they were accused of spending too much time in the dispatch center will be at the center of this.
Yeah, a lot of questions about that case, and WKYT will be following it through the day. It is 6:23, and now a check on the forecast. Meteorologist Micah Harris on top of what may be an interesting week ahead.
Yeah, and you know, the next 48 hours were actually pretty dry and not all that bad. So we start off this morning, clouds overhead. If you go into far northern Kentucky, that's where we've seen some clearing of the skies. And watch what it happens when you have clearing of the skies and clouds out about, even the thick clouds. Down south where the clouds are, it acts as a blanket and keeps us a little bit warmer. We're there in the low to mid 40s. But then you go where you haven't seen many clouds overnight and you're talking about mid 30s. So it all depends on where you are, just to wrap that up. So you're just saying walk outside, you might need that light coat before you do. There is a chill in the air. But once we go through the day, if you're heading out to lunch or trying to get the kids outside, out on the playground, we'll be around 43 there by noontime. So a little bit before that, right around 40, a little bit after that, just above 43, about 44, 45 degrees. By 4 p.m., the kids coming home from school, you getting ready to wrap some things up at work and coming home, you're talking about 47 degrees. A cool afternoon, but not a bad afternoon. The reason why it's a cool afternoon, if it was 47 and bright blue skies, it would be really nice. But we'll have clouds overhead, and that's going to be the problem as we go throughout the day. The focus of the forecast, obviously, guys, is that midweek storm system that will bring us rain. Not only that, but I'm going to be talking about snow totals coming up in just about 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, we'll find out about that a little bit later on. It's 6:24 right now. Coffee's been on a roll lately, you know, with pretty good studies coming out.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and drinking coffee apparently could cut your chances of developing a type of liver disease.
That's according to a medical journal that reviewed 9 separate studies of the effects of coffee. Researchers say 2 cups a day could cut your chance to develop alcohol-related cirrhosis by 44%. Cirrhosis deteriorates the liver by blocking blood flow. Alcoholism is the second most common cause of that condition in the U.S., but experts say coffee will never really balance out all the negative effects of excess alcohol. Some doctors also say more research is needed to confirm those studies. Well, a lock of John Lennon's hair sold at auction for $35,000.
Apparently, a hairdresser kept some of Lennon's hair after giving him a trim as he prepared for a movie role. The 4-inch lock was bought by a United Kingdom-based memorabilia collector. The hair was one of several Beatles-related items up for auction. And here's a great story. 106-year-old Virginia McLaren made a visit to the White House that she will never forget.
She couldn't stop dancing after shaking President Barack Obama's hand. Look at her. It's an honor, she kept saying. First Lady Michelle Obama told Virginia that she wanted to be like her when she grows up. Oh, look at her. She's so cute. Virginia said she never thought she would ever live and get to be in the White House there.
All right, Virginia, you made it, and it looks like that may even be the Oval Office.
I guess living until 106 gets you in the White House, right?
Has advantages for Virginia. All right, as she dances along. All right.
She is too cute.
It's good to have you with us on WKYT, and hope your day is just as bright. It is 6:26 right now.
The pictures are going viral. How a pickup game is leaving a big impression on some Lexington kids.
Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $114 million. Wednesday night's Powerball jackpot, $236 million. Kentucky mornings start right here on WKYT.